so much, Nandaji, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be a part of this wonderful show. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I wanted to talk to you about your work with the physically and mentally challenged children and senior citizens, and about the British, the Carnatic Choir.
Yeah.
So both of them are very interesting and really caught my attention. That's why I reached out to you, and I'm glad I was able to get this opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you. I'm very glad that I have an opportunity to tell more about this to you and the wider audience. Thank you.
Oh, that would be great, because this is a very real thing, dementia and autism and things like that. And if anything can be done to help, it's a great thing. And I think music really reaches beyond the physical, whatever physical barriers are there, and so too with dance, I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
What has been your experience?
I've been a musician and a dancer all my life. I'm still a student of music and dance. I always go because there is so much to learn about, and a lifetime is not enough. So I've been initiated formally in this form of classical style of music and dance right from a very young age. My parents saw the interest, and they further put me in a formal training to hone my talent in the areas. And besides being a performer and also having a responsibility to balance the academic side, as a child and also as an adult, has been always been a challenge for me. But I think with the grace of God and my blessings of my parents and gurus, I've been able to, sustain that and carry it much forward. So the concept about dance and therapy started all when I moved into the UK. That was in the early 2000s, and so having been a performing, having had a little bit of a stint on the performing side, I wanted to do something much more because in those days, as I can rightly put it this way, there weren't many people who were actually aware of this classical style of music. Like UK was pretty much, it had its own niche, certain pockets which would have a large influence of this Bharatanatyam or any kind of South Indian regional dances, classical forms. So I was based earlier, when I moved into the UK, I was based up in the north in Yorkshire, and I did have quite a few opportunities to dance, to perform, and also to teach and train students. But somehow something within me was not really satisfied, and so I've been moving places because of my husband's job and other like children's commitments. So we've been moving around the UK over the years, and so it so happened that from 2007 onwards, I really had a very clear vision as to how I can utilize this form of dance to a wider audience, because the place also, I would say, one other important factor which actually made me push towards this desire or aspiration, I can say that way, is that there were not many Indians or Asians who were living around the area where we used to live. So being the only, in fact, we were the only Asians in the particular county at that point.
This was in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, and we also had a short stint at Staffordshire.
Oh, Staffordshire, okay.
Yeah. So we lived in a very small town, and that town had maybe one or two Asians at the maximum. So I was rather frustrated initially, being a dancer and having trained so much. How do I put this to best use? How do I go forward from here? And so I had this vision in my mind that, okay, why not we explore the same art form in a different way rather than just on the performing side, on the training side. In addition to that, let us take this form to a wider audience. So I took it to the English audience, and to my surprise, it was such an overwhelming response. They really accepted this form of this style of music and dance. As you know, Bharatanatyam is always complementary. It goes complementary with Carnatic music, traditional classical music.
Right.
So so I had a few pilot tests done all around the place, and with such an overwhelming response and accepting, more than anything, the acceptance of a different style of classical music, which is very distinct from the Indian subcontinent, was something that really, really motivated me to, take it further. And I started off with, little customized workshops. So I had a wide range of, in terms of participants, I had a very wide range of people and children. Initially, I started with, a generalized workshop, focusing on the real well-being, the general well-being of people. So even people with hypertension, obesity, and other forms of health issues. So it was all in a general makeup. And then once I moved to Birmingham, I'm currently based in Birmingham, and that was the time which I just tried to keep the baby steps I took. I just kept another leap, and I wanted to try this art form in the care homes and people with, people and children, young children with autism, and older people with dementia, Alzheimer's, and even children with cerebral palsy. And the effect has been amazing. It has been amazing. It has definitely, it has given me a sense of fulfillment, a satisfaction as a performer and as an artist. Because as you know, it is the responsibility of an artist to take this form of art forward in any form, which would benefit the person and the people who are getting trained, and also to a wider community.
Oh, absolutely. Admire for your initiative in this. So when you, do you pick any select ragas for it? Because certain ragas have medicinal healing properties, as you probably know that. So
Yes.
Bilahari once was supposed to have brought a dead man alive. I mean, that's a bit much, but even then.
Anandabharavi has got its own therapeutic effect. It brings, it calms the person. So the way how I work with, in terms of the dance, working with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, it could be very tricky and challenging at times because, I call this Bharatanatyam as a movement therapy. So you see, most of these care homes, the senior residents are mostly confined to their place, to their room, and they just come out at specific times, have a cup of tea, and then relax. So in addition to a relaxation for them could be watching television, or reading a book, or even talking to one another. But besides that, yes, there were several other activities which were focused for these residents as such. But then when I went and met the manager of a few care homes, and I put forth this idea of giving them this 1 full hour of relaxation, in terms of moving their muscles, because it definitely has an impact on their cognitive and also make their muscles more flexible. In terms of giving them more of movement within a very confined space as it is. So that is how it started. And of course, whenever we used to play music, it would always be South Indian classical, Carnatic music.
Right.
So involuntarily, or maybe in a very subtle way, I've tried my best. I'm still trying my best to create an awareness, because people were, Bollywood music is very popular, and so is Bollywood dance. So but we coming from India, and we can boast of such a rich lineage of classical styles of music and dance. Why not we create an awareness with this style of music and dance? So, so that's how I used to work with people with dementia and Alzheimer's. And I've also had the opportunity to engage with children with cerebral palsy, autism. So we've done a few projects with Autism West Midlands, and so my experience with all the schools. So I always target the schools, the special schools where there is a large number of rate of autism. And so we go there, and it would be kind of a term workshop comprising of 10 to 12 weeks, and then the last week the children would like to have a showcase event in front of teachers and their supervisors, supervising assistants. So it was all so very overwhelming, and it had a very positive impact in the minds of young children. In fact, I remember there is one particular school here, which is for the highest rate of autism in children, and especially children between 9 to 16. And giving them the memory, on and off is something very important that every teacher or assistant working with these children are trying to do with several other activities. But I was really surprised when children could actually remember my name, and they used to ask the supervisors, okay, where is Chithra? Is she coming today? It's on a Tuesday? Oh, yes, she's going to come today. So directly or indirectly, I don't know, I might have created a very positive impact in the minds of these children. And
absolutely, yeah.
A little bit of a smile in their faces after 1 hour of workshop, yes.
Yes, unfortunately, some of these autistic kids are both sensitive to sounds as well as they're not socially they're not very responsive. So the fact that they recognized you and they want you, they call you by name, I think that's a great achievement.
Yeah, God is great. Yes, really, so very blessed. Yes.
Does this music, our Carnatic music sound alien to them by any chance? It should be, because it's completely different, right?
Very much. They are not able to place it as to which form of music it is. So certainly introducing them to first, the percussion. We have the South Indian percussion, Mridangam. Just give them a little bit of, see the music which we select, it depends a lot on that,
Right.
With a little bit of introduction with a percussion, and then followed by an instrument. So it's mostly instrumental music which appeals to them a lot.
Right, because there's a steady rhythm and all that, right?
They can relate it to a certain extent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because our gamakas and all that might be pretty alien to them. Because I know there's probably something like a vibrato or a vibrato, whatever they say, but it's nowhere near a gamaka.
Yeah, and children of that particular with that particular health issue, we can't even expect them to, accept it or even enjoy. So at the most, what we can do is, to introduce this kind of music and see how they react. So their response is equally important for us, because, as you know, children with this autism or any other health issues, they could be really very strange. They could react in strange ways. They could be very hostile. They wouldn't want to, join with you immediately. They would like to watch passively, from a distance. And then it takes time for us as trainers also to, get, comfortable with them.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's a whole learning process. I would put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reminded of the book written by Richard Bach, which is Jonathan Livingston Seagull. You teach best what you need to learn the most.
Oh,
it's so contradictory, but as a teacher, you would probably know that when you want to communicate with somebody who's a student, you pull out every trick in the book. I mean, you pull everything in the hat to be able to communicate.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's only a trial and error method, I would say. Just see, try a few things first and see the response. If it is not, then try a different strategy.
Right.
So it's all experimenting, I would say.
Right. So, has there been any clinical studies done after the course? Or?
I have been able to work with a couple of medical practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
and so having been involved with the dance side, mental health, dance and mental health. So that actually provoked, or rather initiated me to introduce something called the World Music Conference, which again a part of the hosted by the British Carnatic Choir. So in this conference, this was launched in 2017, and last year we had the concept of the conference theme being music and mental health. So mental health definitely does impact a lot through music and dance is what we want to convey. And yes, when we say mental health, I've had the opportunity to work with a few medical practitioners in a close perspective and see what could be the in terms of, because what I see is only from an artist's point of view.
Correct.
So and every school here will definitely be supported by a medical practitioner from the National Health Service. So I did have a chance to speak to a few of them and try to to see how this has technically what difference they see. And yes, they have actually had a come back with a very positive thing, and this has in fact been used. This kind of strategy is being used very commonly in most of the schools. But with respect to South Indian dance, I think this is something very new to schools with such specialist schools actually, because is music at the end of the day, but how do we use, because in Bharatanatyam has got the hand movements, the gestures, it is all, we call it the Natya yoga. So in other words, we are trying, it's exercise or movement for the body, mind and the soul. So it is all under one roof. So the impact is definitely very visible, and it can be quantified also medically. That's what I have been informed. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, does the county or does the local government or the NHS support you in any way in terms of financially support you to conduct this, to do this further and to spread this?
When I'm going to schools, yes, the school workshops, I've done quite a few workshops. It's all on a voluntary basis.
I'm sure. No, just for the moment, because is it a non-profit kind of thing?
Yeah, so I don't take, and the one might ask, why do you have to even do it? So I do it for purely my satisfaction.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't expect any, because when you see the smile on that child, or on a senior resident with such health issues, I'm sure you can't equate it with money. But yes, there is definitely a gap where which needs to be bridged, in the sense it would be better if we get a proper funding in order to take it further, to even more wider places, wider communities with especially health issues such as dementia and Alzheimer's. Yeah, I would say I've been lucky enough to have a few corporate sponsors over the years, but it has taken me a very, very long time, especially for people to first believe in what I do.
Right.
And, and they need, that is very important, and the sustainability is the other factor. So I would say God has been really very kind. He's blessed me in abundance, and over the years, I think even though I made a very, very humble start, I'm still taking baby steps. But somewhere or the other, God has been very, very, kind to give us some funding, which is at least reasonably enough to, carry on such workshops. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the objectives of me doing this podcast is to be able to bring people like you into the limelight, because I've, just the last 3 or 4 podcasts, I'll just talk to you about that. One is Radha Ganeshan, who was a teacher in a school, and 20 years back she started a school for autism kids called Swabodhini, which is in Chennai. The other person that I introduced is Mr. K.G. Murli, who started the Children of Krishnagiri for kids who are affected by the AIDS virus, because the parents. Yeah. So all of these people, I do podcasts with them, and I promote them on Facebook, and I promote them in various places, because I think that's the only way, because people should know about it. See, most of people involved, like you, like Murli, like Radha, they're all doing it because of a very altruistic, very higher purpose. It's almost as a calling for all of you. But you guys have bills to pay. I mean, not you personally, but your organization. You have logistics to take care of and things like that. So it needs a certain amount of funding. Certain amount of funding to be able to move this forward. Because for the greater good, unfortunately, there has to be a commercial or a sponsor involved. So
it has always been a challenge. It has always been a challenge, I would say. And I'm also equally lucky to have a very good mentor who's more like my father, Dr. Paul Chandrasekharan Sabapatiji, who's a wonderful human being. And he has actually guided me and groomed me, in the way how I should take, every step in the right direction to get the right people involved in all the projects. So I think, because that is also equally important, you need to have like-minded people who can really support your idea and help you to take further steps in the right direction.
Right. Of course, they say in Hindu philosophy, when the disciple is ready, the guru shows up. So,
Very true.
yeah. So, the British Carnatic Choir, that was also pretty fascinating for me. So, by choir, do you actually have harmonies involved, or is it just because Carnatic music traditionally has no harmony, right?
Very true. Yeah. See, again, the purpose of establishing a choir is, as you know, as you said it right, harmonies are mostly prevalent in the Western style of music.
Correct.
So my objective is to reach a wider audience and to create, awareness about Carnatic music.
Right.
So with that in mind, the only way I found, that would be a workable solution is to bring in people. Because usually when you see Carnatic music is mostly performed by South Indians or, from all the regional, South Indian regional places. And see, again, we are rather reducing it to a very, very small dimension compared to, what could be done. So the objective was to get people from Asian and non-Asian origins to first let them come and listen to it. They should know what this style of music is all about. And again, when we say choir, yes, our choir has children, young adults, we have professionals, we have students of music, and also South Indian or children from the South Indian regional places who would like to come forward and join. So this was the objective was to reach out to a wider audience and bring them into our style of mainstream classical music, try that. And also at the same time, we also launched something called the British Carnatic Choir Youth Choir for schools. So see, the youth are the torchbearers. And here, especially when you talk about Indian music, it has always been Bollywood music, film music, and Bhangra. So there is nothing beyond that. Yes, North Indian music is also equally well known. But when you talk about Carnatic music, fortunately, it was in a pretty sad state earlier, back. Because we always have certain pockets which really are, they are too good. They have a lot of performances, they have a lot of exposure, but again, they are limiting to a very smaller audience. So the objective, which is why the punchline for BCC, British Carnatic Choir, is to unite Britain through Carnatic music.
Yes,
so now the word Carnatic music is, whenever I go out, yes, Carnatic music is a different style of music. So when I hear the word Carnatic, I feel, yes, thank God, we are in the right direction. It would take a lot more years, to have this more well established, but in a very small way, I would say just baby steps. This is how it prompted us to launch. And again, I'm being backed by a very good team of advisors, and it's governed by patrons and trustees who are specialized in Carnatic music, and there are a few corporates, and there are so many others who can individually give a lot, contribute a lot to the growing of this organization.
Right, and I also noticed that you did a concert for in memory of MS Lakshmi.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. It was a very memorable event, and we had a good repertoire of all MS Amma's compositions, and we had, in fact, we had artists from London and other places who actually came, and it was a group performance. It was like a whole evening, as a tribute, a humble musical tribute to the great Bharat Ratna MS Lakshmi.
Yeah, these things also create a lot of awareness, because people have gone back knowing who Dr. MS Lakshmi was.
Absolutely. True. Yeah.
And you have visiting musicians coming too. I noticed that Naivali, Santana Gopalan are also recently.
Yes, he's been really, he's contributed a lot towards the growth of this of the British Carnatic Choir. I call him my guru. He's a wonderful person. He's trained a lot of children, both Asians and non-Asians. When I say non-Asians, they are students from across the UK. So when we meet for the yearly concert, he comes from India, and he trains all the children, and then we have a 3-hour concert. So yeah, he's played a very important role, as a guru, as a teacher, as a lovely person to build a good rapport with him.
Sure.
Even a child can approach him and learn a lot through his teachings. Yes.
Right. So both in our dance forms, in Bharatanatyam as well as in Carnatic music, the importance of Sahityam is there, the importance of literature is there, right? Because it's then that even while dancing, of course, it's a given that you got to express. Even music, you got to express by by a little bit of, if it's a bhakti thing, rasa, it has to come out when you sing.
Yeah.
By bhakti, I mean devotion. These are for people who don't understand these terms. So, and if it's karuna, say in the sense, if you want to, it's love, or if it's I would call it passion. That also has to come out in the song. So it is important for them to know the language for that reason. So do you take time to explain the sahityam to them, what exactly each line means?
Yes, to an extent, we give them an overall view of what the song is all about, under what circumstance this
Okay.
has been composed, who's the composer, what are the melodic scales, and the technical things, raga,
Right.
talam, and all those things will be mentioned. But as you say, it is very, very important for every person, especially when it comes to music, singing or dancing, they would be able to express their emotions in a much better way if they really know the meaning and the context or the circumstance in which the song has been created, and the navarasas, what we call
Correct.
in dance or music. So we do not give them, it is very difficult at times. See, if we have a 3-hour concert and we can only give them meaning to songs with profound sahityas. If there is more of just the swaras, and obviously we can't go there in detail.
Sure.
And even the sahityam, we should try to convey the message to especially people of non-Asian origin
Right.
in a very beautiful way, in a very subtle way, so that they
Hmm.
are able to accept that, and they are receptive to that, and they will be able to express it well through music.
Correct. Also, I wonder if you've, in the States, there has been a pushback from some very right-wing people about yoga and Hinduism being and so therefore is the religion Hindus, are they trying to push forward the religion by using yoga? So there has been a certain amount of pushback on that. But again, extreme right-wing people. Have you had any such problems when you explain, say, if it's a Kirtana on Sri Rama and explain about Lord Rama and stuff? Has there been any kind of pushback? Have you felt in any situation that happening?
Touch wood, I would say I haven't had I've never had such an experience. I would say I'm lucky. I would
I think,
consider, because I think in most situations, how we portray the person is also there. Yes, at the start we always say, Carnatic music or dance, it is all about different deities. In addition to the expressions, the emotions, most of the songs are based on different Hindu deities.
correct.
So if we say Lord Rama, yes, how do we say Lord Rama? How do we portray Lord Rama, a person with a bow and arrow, and it's got a majestic personality, and one who has killed the demon king Ravana. So the way how you narrate the concept is really important here. So we don't want to dwell too much into the religious aspect of that. It's
Right.
more to do with a general portrayal of what the character is all about.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, working with people, children with the normal children and the differently able children, and we've also taken different themes, even what do you call fairy tales.
Hmm.
So it is
Hmm.
like one other character. Of course, we know what is the relevance of Lord Rama, Lord Krishna,
Right.
Lord Shiva. But when you explain and portray it to a person who has got little or no exposure
Hmm.
to such characters, I think it is important. It is a great responsibility on the artist
Yeah,
to
that's why I was asking that
convey that
question.
in
Yeah.
a very subtle way. I would.
Yeah.
That's my humble opinion.
Right. And I'm not surprised that you haven't faced this pushback because I think Europe is more culturally evolved than the States.
UK,
that's,
I
that's
would
a
say,
fact of life.
yeah, this is this place, this country is, it's so awesome. It accepts all religion, all cultures, and it supports. We've never had, as an artist, we have never had a problem at all, because we have had goodwill messages from Her Majesty the Queen,
Yeah, I saw that
from
letter. I saw that letter what was sent to you.
and a former Prime Minister, Theresa May. So they accept and they want, different cultures to thrive in this country, and they've been so very supportive, I would say.
Hmm. That's awesome. So I'm very happy to have met you and spoken with you about the awesome work that you're doing. And
Equally,
and
very
I
nice.
yeah, and I wish you all the very best. And if there's anything that we can do from this side, please do let us know, because I think it's extremely important for us to be able to to take care of the deprived and the underprivileged kids and those who have a mental illness, because I think we owe it to them in some way. As artists, we owe it to them.
These are, I consider it my responsibility. So I think if every artist takes it in this way, yes, I think we would be able to create a huge impact, a positive impact in the community and the society we live in.
Right. So thank you very much, and namaskaram to you.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the very best too.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.